I've been farming for 50 years. Our herd, our stud herd, the Larkensberg herd, is the oldest in the country. Probably the oldest herd from any breed in the country. Our merino farming herd is the oldest in the old Transvaal, 300 years old. So our cattle business operation is more than 300 years old. My children are 6th generation on that farm. So I don't sell any genetics. I don't sell any genetics. I'm a stud breeder. I breed only bulls for myself. I don't sell any genetics. So the thing I want to tell you commercial farmers, up and coming new commercial farmers, when you identify a potential bull breeder or someone you want to buy cattle from, and apologies for my English in advance. Yes, you will understand my English. Yes. You must first identify the breeder. You must first identify the breeder. Integrity and honesty. And then your breeder you buy your bulls from your genetic farm must be able to sustain himself on his farm, only kgs over the scale. If he tries to sell you a type of cattle that he wouldn't sustain him on his farm, you must not buy them. And I think that's a huge problem in South Africa. People are selling genetics. And they make money from the genetics, but they're selling it to commercial farms. Now, I'm obsessive about commercial farmers. I want to keep that guy on the farm, I want to keep you on the farm. That's my obsession. I have no jealousy I have no politics in my about any cattle breed. You will never hear me mention any cattle's breed. It's about the right type of breed. You must identify a guy that's able to sustain himself on the farm with kgs on the scale sold per hectare, not the bull prices. If you intend, and by the way, congratulations with your choice of breed. I genuinely think that Boran is one of the best breeds that can be, because of the ability to adapt, his hardiness and low cost. And that's important. Ek sê dit nou vir julle, dis belangrik om ek dit noem. Ek gaan net so 'n bietjie oorslaan Afrikaans nie. It's important, dis belangrik ek moet vir julle sê, want jy moet eers Boran-keer moet gaan vir jouself sê, wat was jou oorspronklike besluit, hoekom jy die Boran besluit het? Wie kan vir my sê, hoekom het jy die Boran besluit? Why?
Is dat inheemse rasse, so is aanpasbaar, ook as die hoor, die vals en daar in kwam. En gee twee kalers, en 'n goeie moeder, en die moeder insteek van die minister is die groene.
Okay, there you have it, yeah? So, to summarize, Optisom, it's a low-cost animal. So you must be cautious not to let your cost run away with yourself. It's a low-cost animal, you choose it. So ek verstaan nooit hoekom kies iemand as wees soos die Boran oor lae koste en dan probeer hy teel soos 'n hoë koste ras. Frans het nou gesê, as jy R2 minder kry, if you get R2 less at the feedlot. But your feeding cost or your cost are the same as that guy that get R2 more. You get the same for a calf at a feedlot, and your cost is the same as his. You are in trouble. Your cost must be a lot lower. What is the grootste determinator van? What's the biggest determinator of profit? Stocking rate. Stocking rate. If you don't have animals, you have nothing. You can give me a farm, if I don't have animals, I have nothing. Stocking rate is the biggest determinator of profit. The biggest determinator of stocking rate is fertility. Fertility. I'll tell it to you in just a bit of background because it's going to get important. So fertility is the biggest determinator of stocking rate. What is the biggest determinator of fertility? Okay, this is correct. Profitability, fertility is determined by condition and hormone balance, and that's determined by adaptability. So at the end of the day, everybody says he's selecting for weaning weights, and he's selecting for fertility, and he's selecting for anything. all of us are selecting for adaptability. The fertility is only the measurement at which you measure your adaptability. Professor Jan Bonsma said, adaptability is more important than fertility, and that's correct. That's correct. So adaptability, and there's not a lot of breeds that are better adapted than the Boran breed. Okay. So, ek gaan 'n bietjie Afrikaans praat, as julle omgee. You must please ask me if you don't understand. So I'm going to tell you what I'm doing in my enterprise. There's no such a thing as a bull. There's no such a thing as a bull. The bull is irrelevant. A bull only becomes a bull because of his mother's performance. There's no such a thing. If his mother didn't perform, he's only an ox with testicles. You can't call anything with testicles, you can't call it bulls. So you get some guys, they have 100 breeding cows, you want to sell 50 bulls. There's no such thing. A bull can only be called a bull because of his mother's ability to breed. So the mother of this bull is more important than the grandmother and the bull himself together. His mother's performance, you can't say his grandmother performed. If his mother didn't perform, he can't be called a bull. He qualified because of his performance of his mother. That's the only reason. And then he became relevant when his mother qualified, and his grandmother became relevant when his mother qualified. But you must look at the mother. So some people of us go to the auction, and we buy a bull standing there in the ring, just want to look how he looks. Am I correct? There's no way, I'm telling you, some of you new breeders, some of you young breeders, there's no way that you'll be sitting here still on your farm in 20 years' time, if you do that. We used to get away with it in the past because farming was not as expensive. We will not be sitting here if we keep on with that practice, only selecting the bulls and all the advertisement and without. How is it possible that someone can buy a bull without asking the breeder about the mother's intercalving period, age of first calving? Look at the mother, and I'll show you everything today. If you listen today, you'll go away here and you will know how a fertile cow looks, and you will know how a fertile looks. I promise you. So this bull only qualifies because of his mother. And when his mother qualifies, you look at him. Then you can look at him. Then you can call the bull. But then you still have to have some characteristics before you can use it. So let's start with the bull. Mannelijk en vrouwelijk, male and female, direct opposite. A bull must look and act like a bull from day one. From he's born, a bull must look and act like a bull. And a female, so gaan oor die bull se hormoonbalans, en hierso wil ek gaan 'n bietjie net weer Afrikaans doen, wat baie belangrik is. As die bulkalf gebore word, moet hy van dag een af optree soos 'n bul. Hy moet lyk soos 'n bul en moet optree soos 'n bul. 'n bulkalf wat gebore word, hier's ding wat baie mense fout maak, nie hierdie ras nie, van ander rasse. 'n Bulkalf wat gebore word met hierdie verskriklike bespiering, is 'n rooi vlag. 'n Bul se bespiering moet kom, is testosteroon gedrewe, soos hy mature, moet sy bespiering kom. As hy bespiering van geboorte af toon, is dit 'n rooi vlag. Sy bespiering kom met maturity, soos hy ontwikkel. So met 'n female, presies, 'n female se hormoonbalans is weer bietjie meer gecompliceerd. Hulle hormone is bietjie te mekaar. Female is not as simple as a bull. A female hormone balance is a bit on and off. The moment she gets pregnant, she starts to look like a female. But the bull calves, muscling must come from testosterone. So
'n vraag. Soos ek reg verstaan, die kalf gebore is en hy baie goeie bespiering is nie meer 'n goeie ding.
Nee.
Tyd.
Bespiering moet, die wilse bespiering is testosteroon gedrewe. 'n vers kalf wat gebore word met bespiering is klaar groot rooivlak. Eintlik 'n vroulike dier wat verskriklike bespiering wys enige tyd van haar lewe is 'n rooivlak. So 'n vroulike dier kan vleis dra. As hy nie bespiering toon nie. 'n manlike dier se bespiering moet testosteroon gedrewe wees. En dit is 'n baie belangrike punt. As ons nou hierdie twee bulle gaan bespreek, sal jy verstaan wat ek daarmee bedoel. Maar ek sê nie 'n manlike bul kan nie bietjie bespiering wys nie. Maar toe Mike Tyson gebore is en jy gebore is, het hy dieselfde gedink. Toe hy nou later sy testosteroon in werking skop, toe begin hy anders lyk. So 'n bulkalf se masculinity moet ontwikkel soos die testosteroon kom. Maar dan soek jy die bul wat dit eerste het. Die bul wat eers die manlike eienskap het, en ons het dit nou baie mooi behandel. Hier is 'n uitstekende voorbeeld. What happens, so just to come back to the feedlot. You are selecting for the feedlot. You are selecting the bull calf with the best growth direct. So that's totally wrong. If you want to make a big mistake and stay on the farm, go to your farm, you must select for growth direct. Look at the example there. But what happens? Wat gebeur met 'n bull as jy hom kastreer? Jy vat sy testosteroon weg en hy word groen vry, nee. Dis nie ek wat so sien, dis 'n wetenskaplike feit. Testosteroon onderdruk beengroei. Daar's 'n tipiese voorbeeld van ons kastreer, gaan hy aanhou groei. Daar's na alle waarskynlikheid. Maar die bul baie hoër, jy kan sien hoe hy optree. Baie hoër testosteroon vlak as daai. Kyk daai bul so hoog, sien hoe hoog is hy die been. You see that bull there? This bull is short and stocky. High testosterone suppress skeletal growth. You see that?
And I small because I've got lots of testosterone.
Ons praat net van koning-tipe nie. So if a bull is high in testosterone, he will not grow in size. He will grow like that. He will put on meat. A bull, een mense condition, ek het nou gesê condition, jy moet dit nie verwar nie. 'n Bull se condition kom van vleis. Hier is baie belangrik. Weet ons doen nou groeitoetse, groei direk, dan selekteer ons bulkalf. Dink mooi oor, ons vat hierdie bul, ons toets hom vir vroue, ons toets hom vir groei direk. Ons kastreer sy kalvs. Jy verander die hele hormoonsamestelling vir die dier. Ons kastreer sy kalvs, ons sit in 'n voerkar en ons sê ons het hom getoets vir groei en vervoer hom sê. Hoe weet ons wat is die effek van die feit dat ons hom gekastreer het, sy kalvs gekastreer het? Enigste manier hoe hom vervoer hom sê kan toets is sy kalvs met hulle testes intact in die voerkar sou sit. As jy volg wat ek sê, dis dieselfde met vet. Ons toets vir marmering, ons toets vir onrykse vet, en obviously gaan 'n bul daarvan doen. Maar 'n bul se kondisie is, as jy die woord kondisie gebruik, wat ontsettend belangrik is, moet spiergedrewe wees, vleisgedrewe wees. Nie so, 'n bul wat vet aanpak enige stadium van sy lewe. Is 'n aanduiding op, en luister mooi voor jy my nou aanval, is 'n aanduiding van laer vrugbaar. As 'n bul vet aanpaking het, van opvel, van sy eie, dan is dit 'n aanduiding van laer testosteroon. As hy vet aanpaking het, oor jy hom so gevoer het, is dit jou skuld, maar hy gaan steeds laer vrugbaar wees, omdat hy vet. So enige bul wat vet aanpaking toon hier op die bruskit voor, as hy loop, kan jy weet. Either is hy onvrugbaar omdat hy geneties, nie onvrugbaar en laer vrugbaar oor hy geneties so is, of dis die boer se skuld, hy het hom te veel gevoed. 'n Bul se kondisie kom van vleis. 'n Koei, vroulike dier, se kondisie kom van vet, estrogen. Dus kom as jy 'n bul kastreer, dan sit hy vet aan, dan kan jy hom slag en gradeer. As jy 'n bul in die vet tot ander voer, gaan hy ook vet aan sit. Jy gaan hierdie bul ook nou doen, hy gaan ook marmering hê, hy gaan ook onderhuidse vet hê. Maar hoe kan ons selekteer vet? Dis ons absoluut malligheid om 'n vel te selekteer vir 'n dier wat testosteron gedrewe moet wees vir onderhoudseffek. Waarmee is dit? Wat is die punt dan? Ek sien nie die punt dan. Ek sal hom voor hom sê vir hulle. So wat is belangrik? En hierdie is ek baie spyt. I'm very, wat is die woord spyt?
Regretful.
I'm regretful. I'm very regretful for the fact that I only learned this very late in my life. To just give you some background. So I've been farming for 50 years. I've got 2 breeding seasons with cattle and sheep, 3 breeding seasons per year. So over 100 times in my life, I needed to decide which bull or which ram to use. 100 times, 5 times a year. In 50 years, I needed to decide to select which bull and which ram. I've paid more than 39,000 sheep of my own hands in my life. And so now people come to my farm and they say, your sheep must be perfect because you ate 39 hours over a period of 15 years. No, because more times than I have used the wrong ram more times than I used the right ram. Because I didn't look at the mouth. I was not experienced enough, I didn't look at the mouth. So I'm not regretful about it. But more times I used the wrong bull or the wrong ram than I used the right. Today I can tell you, this way in selecting bulls that I can teach you now is by far the most efficient one. And I'm very regretful I haven't known it before. So let's go to the bull. A bull must look like a bull, must act like a bull. A direct opposite of a fertile female. If you look at the bull, he must be, let's start at the head. His head must look like a bull's head. If you see him around the corner, you must see it's a bull, it's not a cow, it's not an ox. It must be broad between the eyes. Do you see the broadness between the eyes? Exactly the opposite of the cow. The bull will have a short, stocky head with the eyes more to the middle of the head. The cow will have a long, smaller head with the eyes closer to the top third of the head. That's a fact. The cow will have a small, feminine head. Here you want a stocky, broad head. Look at between the eyes. Big, lively eyes. You see him. He looks at you like your own money. Important thing about the head, people get confused. They think that there must be coarse hair on the head. That is not the indigenous trait. Boran, Drakensberger, Nguni, Tuli, Moshona, you will not get that coarse long hair like the European breeds or the British breeds on the head. So that is not an indigenous African Sangha trait. But you still have one. Look at the difference between this head and that head. You see that? You will hear what he's saying, it's like a quickball. Longer, thinner, smaller. You can see the eyes from the front. Is what is what complicated? You know what this
Ibex.
Ibex. Strong, developed ibex. Look there. You can see his eye from the front. Look at the difference. Small stocky, short stocky, long, thin. And then probably the most important thing. I'll tell you about the measurements that I do in the farm later, but the most important thing I look into a bull. I will typically come visit my bulls every day. So after I took the measurements and everything I do, and I identified his mother, and they are all the bulls that qualified through their mother in one day, I will visit them, typically I'll visit them every day. Within his group, the bull that shows the first masculinity in the neck. The bull this is very important. I'll visit them every day. The bull that shows first masculinity in the neck and on the shoulders. I'll make a mark. Just Just to show you. Well, let's go further to the neck. The bull, you want extremely masculinity in the neck. Muscling in the neck, on the shoulders as well. There's a misconception that if a bull has muscle on the shoulders, you will give calving problems. It's exactly the opposite. If that shoulders are meat, muscle, you will breed exactly the opposite. I'm not talking about bone. If that structure, it's bone structure, then you will get calving problems. He can be as broad as he like there in his neck. He won't give calving problems. He will breed exactly the opposite. So there's a misconception. Some people say you stand in front of him and you can't see his stomach or his ribs, you will give calving problems. That's not correct. This can be as big. Look at the difference between these two bulls. You will see that if you see them from the front, you will see the difference in masculinity on the shoulders. Look at can you see that? Look at this bull. There's almost no muscle development on the shoulders and the neck. So the cow is exactly the opposite. The cow, you want a thin, feminine, flat neck. The bull, you want a thick, massive man. The cow, exactly the opposite. So male, female, exactly the opposite. Then you go back from the behind the shoulders. So all of you know about the wedge. So a bull's wedge must be deep in front. You know wedge. The bull's walking from the shoulder like backwards like this. And the cow the opposite. The cow is shallow in front, deeper to the back. Look at this bull. He's heavy in front. Maar this bull is ongelukkig so goed gevlees agter. Dat hy vertoon nie daai tipiese wedge, maar hy is verskriklik goed bespierd in die voorkwart. Maar hy dra ontsettend baie goeie vleis agterop. Wat belangrik is by die Boran, dink ek, hy moet nie daai skof wat 'n truit is van die Boran verwar met masculinity. Tot die koeie daar so skof, maar daar sien jy sien dat masculinity skof, wat is skof? You see that dump, that grows up underneath that so okay,
onder die oogspier.
Ja, onder die Boran het ons van nature skof wat 'n deel is van sy trui en die eienskap. Jy kom nie verwar met masculinity. Daar sit hy op die nek. Die skof wat die manlikheid wys. Kyk jy verskil daar. So jy gaan nou sê daai Boran het ook 'n skof. Hy het masculinity nie uit nie. Kyk hierso. Daai skof van hom sit op die skouers, tipies soos 'n Boran. Dis 'n rastrui en hierdie een se skof sit die rastrui op die skouers, maar die manlikheid skof voor op die nek tussen die skouers en die kop. Nie omdraai. Dis baie duidelik. So nou toe gaan jy tipies teenoorgestelde soek. Jy gaan 'n plat fyn nek soek. Jy gaan nie daai geweldige skof ontwikkeling wil hê nie. Jy gaan 'n wedge wil hê wat sy gaan vlakker voorlees en dieper na agter toe loop. Dan kom ons by die testes. Dis 'n geweldig belangrike testes. Die testes se korrelasie met vrugbaarheid is so groot voor amper soos cheat. The importance of the testicles of the skeleton regarding fertility is so important. It almost feel like you're cheating if you use that as a reference. But the bull that, and I'm going to tell you my measurements. Ek gaan typies nou meer hiervoor, ek kan nie goed direct nie. Wat ek doen is, ek sal hierdie bul wat die vinnigste groei vir sy grootte. Sal die beste bul doen. So hierdie bul sal ek die heuphoogte meet, en dan sal ek almal se heuphoogte vergelyk, dan vat ek die Universiteit van Michigan, ek weet nie of jy al daai grafiek gesien het nie, dan vat ek sy voorspelde volwasse massa, en ek weeg hom op 14 maande is 'n goeie tyd. Dis nie na speen is, net na speen of 7 maande is die invloed van die ma se melk te groot. En net na die winter het hy nog nie 'n fase gehad op die somer wat hy regtig kon groei. my al die effek van die naam afgeskik. So dis een soortgelyk een winter op veld, dan sal ek sy heuphoogte neem, ek sal hom uitdruk as 'n persentasie van sy voorspelde volwasse massa, en dan vir hom relatiewe groei kry. So die bul wat die vinnigste groei vir sy grootte, geteel uit 'n beproefde moeder, sal die beste bul wees. Die bul wat die grootste skrotum het, vir sy heuphoogte, sal die beste skrotum hê. Dis sy ware skrotum. So the bull that grows the fastest for his size will be the best bull. You understand that? You can't take growth away. The bull that grows the fastest for his size, for his structure, will be the best bull. The bull that have the biggest scrotum for his size will have the best scrotum. So a bull that is 140 centimeters high with a scrotum of 39 have a very, very small scrotum. But the bull of 110 inch high or centimeters high with a 39 scrotum have a large scrotum. You understand that? You must take it relevant to the size of the animal. Why is size important? So when we say that stop, here, Robin. Stock density are the most important factor determining profitability. So how do you going to raise your stock density? By keeping smaller cows. Small is not always better. A cow is not bought better because she's small. She's small because she's better. Do you understand that? You must listen carefully.
Say that again.
Wat het deel?
She's not more better because she's smaller because she's bigger.
A cow is not better because she's small. You get small cows as well. But cow is smaller because she's big. You understand it? She's not better because she's small. She's smaller because she's better. So small cow have a big advantage. So people are very easy to say, then they say, I've got a good feeding regime, I've got a maize tower, so I can keep large framed animals. I can keep cows from 600 kg or 500 kg. That's not the excuse. If you've got better grazing, keep more animals. Don't make the animals bigger. So a 450 kg cow, in my books, is the perfect weight. Not the perfect weight, it's the absolute top max in my books. Some of you will differ with me. The reason I say that, it's very easy for a cow of 450 kg and less to weigh 50% of herself. You tell me you farm where I come from, Mpumalanga, very, very sour veld, very cold, with very high tick infestation. You tell me you have a cow that weighs 600 kg and you win a calf 300 kg every year. It's probably possible, but highly unlikely. It's not, I don't think it's possible. I don't say that it happen. Maar as jy vir my sê, jy het 'n 450 kg kalf wat ek dink is die maksimum, wat elke jaar vir jou kalf gee van 225 kg, dit is vir my moontlik. Ek het dit al baie gesien. Hoe laat dit word, hoe makliker word. Ek sê nie by soetveld en as jy op oesreste boer, 'n 600 kg koei kan nie, 'n 300 gaan. 300 kg kalf speel, maar dat is highly unlikely. Verstaan, do you understand that concept? Yes. So a 450 kg calf, a cow, will be able, most probably will be able to wean a calf every year, extensive on veld of 225 kg. That is 50% of her own mass. It's possible at a low cost. But it's highly unlikely that a cow of 600 kg will wean a cow extensively, calving every year that weighs 300 kg, 50% of her weight. So you're going to feed 200 kg mahala, unnecessary to get to 200 125 or 250 kg calf. I don't say it's impossible. It's highly unlikely.
While you're talking about that, what are your weaning weights, just out of interest?
210.
Out of the one weight count, 450 count?
Cows, 430, 439.
So it's 50%.
Just underneath 50.
Okay, thank you.
So he asked my cows average 439. So, and the weaning weight's anything between 205, 210. I've got, sometimes if I've got 240, 250, I can just keep going. Or either a calf died the previous year. Or she's about to skip. If he does, if he don't skip already, she's about to skip.
Pikkie, het nou ons gesê jou maksimum gewig of ideaal vir julle is nie meer as 450 nie. Wat is jou persoonlike ideale gewig waar julle is?
430. So I'm a bit guilty. I always think about the commercial side. You must remember, I'm not selling genetics. So I try to have a commercially accepted product for the feedlot because I sell my calves to the feedlot. But you people, even if you get for any breed, they're 2 rands less. Your cost is, like Francois said, your cost must more than double make up for it. The fact that you can sell pregnant heifers must more than double make up. The fact that you can carry more animals per hectare must make up more than double. Why are you worrying about 2 to 3 rands less for only your bull calves? So I'm not going to change my whole system just to please one side of my operation because I keep the heifers. I must farm next year. Now I decide to use bulls that put on calf direct, but I keep the heifers, and they don't calf under my feeding. My cost on a 210 day winter league at my operation is 604 rand a cow for 220 days of the winter. It's actually less because a big part of that winter the cow has a calf woofer. A big part because I wean late. I calf in summer, I wean late. So a big part of the winter the calf is still with his mother. So I must take that into account because the calf is eating it with his mother. But let's take it 604 rand. So I don't know how come people say they don't make money out of cattle farming. How is it possible? They do because they select. They don't make money because they select for the wrong things and they don't farm with nature. The biggest action you can do, the biggest practice you can do that will have the most dramatic influence on your profitability in cattle or stock farming is to farm with nature. In my instance, it will be to calf on green grass. There's 3 important operations during the year regarding cattle. There's calving, breeding, and weaning. You can only do 2 of them on green grass. One will be on winter grass. You must decide which one is the least important. Calving, breeding, or weaning. You can't do all 3 on green grass. So a lot of people are upset with heavy weaning calves, so they calf in winter and they wean in summer. It costs you far less, it will cost you far less to look after a calf because of the high feed conversion. If a cow calves in August, you have to spend a lot of money and hay to keep conditions for her to conceive again in November. But if you see calves in summer, it made a dramatic, huge difference in my profitability. I used to calf from 10 August off. My calving season only started in April, in October now. It's still one of the biggest wonders of the world for me to see the difference. How a cow from a cow that must calf in October, how she looks on 25 September, and how she looks on 20 October. I can't understand, it's one of the wonders of the world, the increase in condition in just that month after green grass. So the weaning are the less important, the less expensive. So rather wean the calf in winter and feed him if you want, if you're obsessed with heavy weights, feeding will cost you a lot less. And it's not as important as breeding in culture. Okay.
Kan net vra om wat jy sê oor jou ideale gewig. I think it's really important that we must understand the stud breeders. If that's the target of a commercial farmer, and that's the optimum for commercial farmers. We as stud breeders can't say we stud breeders, it should be different. It should be exactly the same. Because we're supposed to sell bulls and genetic material to those farmers, it should be exactly the same. And that's why I still think the most valuable part is if you have commercial operation running with the stud operation, so we understand both worlds. Because we must be able to get those worlds compatible.
Yeah. Just like Francois said, you must identify a guy that will be able to sustain himself on the farm, even if he doesn't sell genetics. You must qualify as a commercial breeder before you use the genetics. So regarding the scrotum, but that's another thing that's very important, the size of the scrotum regarding to the bull's height. Very important. Then the development of the epidermis by Afrikaans, what is ons epidermis? Epidermis. You know what the epidermis is? Is that small? Do you know the epidermis? That small, like, ball-like testicle underneath the scrotum. So they must be very, very well developed. If you stand behind the bull, you must see them from a distance. That's it, very, very, it's almost more important than the omtrek, the omtrek from the size of the testes. So the development of the epidermis are almost more important than the size of the scrotum. You must be able to control his scrotum. If I stab him with the stick, or he's running, and his scrotum is swinging like that, and beating his knees, he will get injured. It will affect his quality of his semen. If you stab him with the stick, or he's running, you must be able to pull up his scrotum, and when he relaxes, you must release it. You will see this bull, the difference between this and that bull. If you stab that bull, you will immediately pull up the scrotum. So scrotum are extremely important. Then the size of the length of the bull and the cow are correlated with more meat and are also correlated with fertility, as well as the distance from the hip to the septum. And I think that's a thing that is a thing wat baie underestimate word. Dan kyk bietjie by jou eie koeie wat baie vrugbaar is. Kyk na hulle almal se lengte van die heup na die sitbeen. Stem nie saam? Dog. Jy sal bitter min koeie sien wat vrugbaar is wat nie goeie lengte van heup tot sitbeen. Selfs by die bul, kyk die verskil tussen daai bul, kyk hoe lank hy hoe lank die eerlik as jy wil. Kyk die verskil daar tussen daai lengte van daai bul se heupbeen en sy sitbeen. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference from the hip bone to the sit bone? Sit bone. Most of it here. So let's start. Let's summarize. This difference between these two bulls. That is extremely high testosterone, fertile bull that will make you money on the field. You will breed exactly the opposite females. Exactly the opposite females that are very fertile. This bull, look at the difference in age. Stocky, big, wavy eyes, broad between the eyes, masculinity in the neck. Look at the difference. Look at the hand. Look here, no hand. No hand between the shoulders and the neck. No hand. Long fingernails. No muscling. No masculinity in the neck. No muscling on the front leg and the shoulder. Look at that muscling in the front leg and the shoulder. If you buy a bull auction, you want to know if the muscling you show is only fat or feeding or it's genetically. Feeding has no influence on that muscle. It's like a Pikkie Uys. You make a Pikkie Uys with a stenkel, there's no fat on. So now, regardless how much video, that muscle you show on the front leg is a genetic muscle. You can't feed it. You can feed this boy as much as you like. You won't put on muscle on the front leg. Okay, let's go. Kom ons gaan vanaf. So you see the difference in the front quarter.
That's the biggest challenge we have. Because in all likelihood, if you have these two bulls on a catwalk, the one nearest to you will have the better
Growth. Yeah, growth.
Yeah?
Yeah, only growth.
Yeah,
The one at the back, the smaller bulls, his dam's ICP is 336. 336 days. So it's just
So can I ask a question? Is this some of you that takes the ETDs or the breeding values very seriously? Obsessed with it? I don't say you must not use it. I ask, is there someone here, there is no use talking about it, is there someone here that put a lot of weight of emphasis on, yes, my Engels, a lot of, is there someone that put a lot of emphasis on the breeding values, EPDs? Be honest. Okay.
Je moet om jou, jammer om Afrikaans te praten. Maar dat is iets wat een mens moet kijken om jou, want je moet jou koeie kennen. Want een bulk gaan we steeds van af. De meeste van je gaan een baie groot indruk doen op je kudde. So dat is iets wat een mens basis moet kijken als een herbelegering.
Okay. Yeah, fair. Okay, I've got a lot of experience from breeding values. That was one of the biggest things I regret the most in my life. The 2 years that I used breeding values to select bulls. It's not breeding values is called it. It's I didn't use it correctly. So as like most of people don't use it correctly. If you take the breeding values, if you take the catalogue from Stamboek of breed plan, there's only one value that you need, and this is important that you follow me. There's only one value that you need to select for. The other value you must select against poor performers. So let's start from the left, breeding birth weight. You don't need to select for small calves at birth. You must select against breeding calving problems. There's a difference. If you select for small calves, you'll stop at 10 kg calves. You must not select for small calves. You must select against calving problems. So that's not in the EPDs. The second one, you don't have to select for milk. You must select against poor milk, low milk. You don't need to select for the cows with the highest milk. You need to select against the cows with the lowest milk. Let's go to growth. You don't need to select for growth. You need to select against poor growth. Fertility is the only thing that you actively need to select for. The other ones you only select for poor performance. So if fertility is in place, everything else will be in place. If a heifer's mother didn't have enough milk, the heifer won't reach a target weight to conceive early, to calve early. So no need to worry about it. If the mother hasn't had enough weight, she won't reach a target weight to conceive at the right time. Same with cows, exactly the same with cows. So there's no need to worry. Everything falls in place when you select for fertility. So we in South Africa, our commercial farmers, most of the commercial farmers say stud farmers a lot, they say they select against poor fertility because they slaughter cows, keep cows. That's not correct. If you slaughter cows that skip, you're not selecting for fertility, you're only selecting against poor fertility. So most people select against poor fertility by slaughtering skip cows, and then they do everything in their power to put the low fertility bull back again on that cow. Yeah, that's a fact. So I'm slaughtering my skip cows, and then I select a bull for growth direct, and big and size and everything, and I put them back on the cows, just to slaughter the calf again. Do you understand what I said? So there's a difference between selecting against each trait or actively selecting for it. The only trait that you need to select for is fertility, because fertility is the measurement at which adaptability is measured. And we all are selecting for adaptability at the end of the day. So let's go back to these two bulls. Look at this bull, front quarter. Look at his human capacity, rib sprong. Look at his calf machine. Look at his length of his hip to his sit pins. Look at his frame size. I don't think I don't think they will differ much in weight. That smaller bull will be heavy. Do you agree? 610, 520. Ouderdom? Okay. So the bull that is the heaviest for his size, or the grows the fastest for his size in his group, you can't take a 2-year calf and compare it to a 5-year-old cow. You can't take a skip calf and compare it to a cow that calf every year. You must compare him in group 2-year calves in one group, 3-year calves in one group, mature cows in one group, cows over 12 years in one group. Then you can compare it, because there is such a thing as epigenetics. Epigenetics is the influence that the environment has on the expression of genes. So a cow that calves in 2 years, calf will never look like a cow that calves on 6 years. You can't compare them. You must measure them in their groups. Okay, goes forward. Yep. Is there any questions about the bull?
But we also can say, just in short, if you look at the length of the neck of that bull comparative to this bull, I also experience sometimes when the neck is longer and the muscularity is there, the bull can hold his back in balance. Look at this bull got a short neck, no muscle in his starting to get out of balance.
Pikkie Uys, hierdie bos se splitting so noem maar 'n gesiede test.
Ja.
Wat is jou gevoel dan?
Ek weet nie regtig nie. Hulle sê ons laat ons toe tot 2 dae, dis omtrent 'n kilogie boksie. Dit toe. Maar obviously hou ek nie daarvan. Want ek weet nie of François hulle weet eerder daarvan.
2 centimeter.
Hulle wil weet die split.
2 centimeter. Nee?
Dit is altyd daai ander daar moet dit tip. So ek ons het nie 'n afsnypunt op dit, maar daai tip. Ons het nie 'n afsnypunt op dit nie.
Maar baie oor erflik so.
Ja, hy is 'n presentasie oor erflik.
Ek weet wat ek nogal
Dr. P van Rooyen, ek het hierdie boek ek dink daar is definitief oor erflikheid.
In comparison with this bull's tail is short enough. Is it something that I should take into consideration?
So there's a question about the length of the tail. Dennis also asked me one day. I can't say this for a fact, but why have all indigenous breeds most of the time have long tails? So I think it's a case of form follows function. So because the indigenous breed, you see it why he's wagging his tail. You can think for yourself if the flies are bothering you, you eat less, you breathe less. So I think a long tail, I don't think I will discriminate against it. It's still long enough. But I think it's indigenous trait. You will see some British breeds that have very short tails. So most indigenous cattle have a long tail. But I won't discriminate against it with this bull. That's a fancy point. You have a lot of very, very good other characteristics. So I think it's exceptional. And that is not too short.
Just a follow-up on that. Can you please explain to me the difference between also again the temperament? Is it because of this particular temperament? He's got a little bit of a temper. It could be that he's not familiar with humans. Or maybe it's a bad person.
I can just add something to me. This is the first time ever that this bull has been hearing. First time ever. Yes.
Answer on that one.
Yeah.
The second, can you please explain to me what is the difference between a stud bull, a stud Boran bull, and a commercial Boran bull? In a sense, that in my observation, the stud bulls are the ones that are registered, they've got paper. And the commercial bulls are those bulls that maybe when Christopher was inspecting, and those bulls are then referred to as the commercial farm. So can you just maybe explain the difference?
I think I can answer that. It's fun. So we've got a system. If you follow the Facebook, it will be driven the next year. So that we want to make sure people buy bulls, commercial farmers buy bulls that made it through the system and that have been approved. So if a bull hasn't been approved, don't buy it. There are more than enough registered stud bulls, far more than what the stud industry needs. Buy those bulls. Don't buy a bull that has been turned down because of the fault. And we'll put a brand on them to show this bull has been approved. Make sure you buy an approved bull. That's why we go through the process, not to select bulls from stud breeders. Exactly the opposite. To make sure that commercial bull breeders buy bulls that have been approved by the system. I think that's very important.
Can we also then change the terminology that we use when describing the bull? Because what I am getting, I'm speaking for myself, I don't know about other people here. What I am getting is a commercial bull, the terminology behind it. It's that bull that did not make it on star.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's a bull that should be used by commercial farms. It shouldn't be sold by stud breeders. That's where you should be at. That's the point. When you buy a bull, make sure it's been approved before you buy it. And the issue is, we must understand one thing. If we go through the system, and we breed about 5 to 7, we get to 7 we get low. That's 5% of our bull calves will make it in the end. So people must just understand, if you want to buy a registered bull that's gone through the process, then you won't get it for 20 grand, because that doesn't make sense for them. So the problem is from two sides. Commercial farmers doesn't want to pay 40,000 for a bull, which I think is a low price taking into account that these animals are productive for 6, 7, 8 years. They want to buy 20,000 rand bull and say it's a commercial bull. You must just make sure. That's a different topic for a different day, but my recommendation is buy what you call a stud bull or a registered bull, then you sure it's through the system. That is for commercial farmers. A commercial bull should go to the slaughterhouse and be slaughtered. Right?
I think you must ask if this will be approved by the society, and if not, then you will make a decision on that.
Another point that's very important. I'm very strict on the construction of the roofs. Most cases with other breeds, the complaints of the scumbags of bulls are because of the roofs. So what? My criteria is the bull is walking at 50 meters away. You can't judge it. You can't judge this cow walking a bird. You can't judge the roofs standing there in the ring. You must see the bull walk. If he's moving efficiently and functionally, he probably is structurally correct. So you must see him. If he's something that's not like if he has straight up roots or a circle you will see it when it moves. You will not see it when it's there. Okay, Frans, what's here?
This is a two heifers, they differ about 6 months in age. That the smaller one being a bit older. That one calf had, the bigger one calf at 42 months the first time. The smaller one is with a third calf.
Pikkie, net 'n vraag. Nou die vraag van die hoewe. Die terreinkaapie hier in Boom. Hier wat sê Botswana Boom. Gaan hulle hoewe nie daar gestol teen.
Baie. So he's asking about the roofs, the environment. Does it have influence on the roofs? Definitely. Groot.
Hoe bepaal hulle dan wanneer word die af?
Ek weet nie, Jaco sal jy moet met Jaco praat. Ek weet daai ouens in die Kalahari sukkel baie met hoe, want ons nooit nie. Ons het nooit, ek dink nie ek het al ooit in my koei geprul. Wel dalk het ek gekoop het, maar wat gevoer het, maar 'n koei geprul het in veld behoewe nog nooit.
Maar die stand, ja, kan ook maar, so die stand van jou langer, maar wanneer jy 'n rolklop kry, buite het daar,
So die langer is reg.
lang bedrijf. Dit is ook op elke keer wat naar verschillende plek gaan in die land. Hij moet weet waarmee hij te doen is. En hij weet, ik heb nou die Kalahari, ik ga naar huis doen. Maar wanneer er een structurele punt is op die boek, en dan wordt het een krullende hoofd dan.
So is weer eens 'n geval van false follows function, hè. Ek stem met hom saam. Wat Christopher sê, stem ek saam. As dit die omgewing is, sal al 4 hoewe dieselfde tendens toon. Hulle sal langer groei. Maar soos by rolklou wat eintlik 'n bil is wat op die buitekant van sy hoewe loop. Dis hoekom sy hoewe begin so onder hom ingroei. Dis 'n strukturele fout, false follows function. Dis die bil wat sekelhakig is. Wat sy kloue vinnig vorentoe groei, is omdat hy so loop. So dit is maar net 'n tendens, 'n simptoom van die strukturele fout. Maar ek hoor wat hy sê en ek dink Jaco kan saamstem. Die omgewing speel 'n rol.
Yeah, so kyk basies, have to be symmetric. The inside and outside floor must look exactly the same. The moment it's not symmetric anymore, then the red line.
Okay. Did you understand it? Regarding the variation of the roofs, the inside and outside must be symmetrical. It must look the same. If it differs, then there's a structural fault.
Just put an idea. Just to align with when you were studying about how to select the baby, you said we have to consider the history from the mother's side. Can you please create, is it not really necessary also to check on the father's side?
Yeah. So the question is, do you only check the mother's history? The mother's history, the closest to the bull, is the most important. For example, if the grandmother calved every year, but the mother isn't performing, the grandmother's history is irrelevant. So if the mother calves every year, then the grandmother's history became relevant. Closest to the bull. So his father's mother and his grandmother on his mother's side only becomes important when the mother calves. So I can't say this bull's mother calved once, but his grandmother calved 20 times. It's irrelevant. It's only become relevant when the mother is performed.
What I'm simply meaning, the bull has got its mother and its father.
Yeah.
Now, why when selecting a bull must we only, mostly consider the mother's side, not the father's side?
The father's side as well. The father's mother, but the bull will never be evaluated for calving. You can only evaluate his daughters. So yeah, you will never be taken. That's why I say it's not as important as the mother. It only becomes important when the mother qualifies. But he will never be measured for the really important traits in the farming. That's calving, raising a calf. He will never be measured. But only his daughters will measure. So the closest thing to him is his mother. If you have daughters, you can evaluate his daughters. So you will evaluate his grandmother and the mother and Bull's own mother. And then you go on. If they are tops, obviously, how longer the pedigree of top performance, how more predictable it is. So if you've got a top mother and a top grandmother, cake becomes very, very predictable. And you're more certain that you will get the top calf. But the mother must be careful. Is uitstekende voorbeeld van presies dieselfde. You see this calf, this is nie, hulle is twee vol sisters nie.
Nee, dit is vol sisters.
So, okay. Okay, you see this, let's take this cow. Look at this. Think back about the bull. Dink terug aan die bull. Compare it to the head of the bull. Longer fin, you see that? You see the eye closer to the top fin. You see the femininity here. All over, soft skin, silky skin. Fin in the face, look at the neck. Almost no muscle fat in the neck in the brisket. You see that? Small arm, very small arm for a girl. Look at the femininity there. No excessive muscle in there on the shoulder or bones. Look there. Look at that cow. You see that cow? Almost like a horse. The one on the leg. Smaller, stockier, broad between the eyes. More meat in the neck, especially here beneath the ear. Do you see that? You see that very well. You see that?
Dit weet my doen 'n maand, ek doen 'n maand gekoop. Maar dit weer
42. So hierdie is tydens die derde kalf.
ja.
So for you, up and coming and young farmers here, if you go to the auction, the point that Francois tries to make here, that is femininity. It's exactly the same, exactly the opposite from the bull. Can you see that? Everybody can see that. This is not exactly. If a bull breeds heifers that looks like him, you don't know. Red flag. They must look exactly the opposite. So if you up and coming and you, the young farmers and old farmers, go to the auction, you will probably buy this heifer because this is a cow. This is a calf. She only calved at 42 months. So that's 3 years and a bit, eh? 3 years and 6 months. There's no way you can make money out of cattle if she calves at that age. Then you must wait 4.5 years before you receive any feedback from them. This cow is the same age. She calved 3 times. That's a calf. This is a third calf. So if you go to the auction, you buy that cow because she's heavier and the calf are bigger. But think about the reserve and the advantages. If you go, they estimate that a veldbeest, wat is veldbeest in a field, beef cattle, produces 1,200 kg of milk per lactation. 1,000, listen carefully, 1,200 kg of milk per lactation. So that is, if a cow weighs 600, that's double her own size. She produces in milk. The one that skipped will have a dead calf at birth. Can you think that advantage in reserves you will put in the next calf? If she didn't have to lactate, produce 1,200 kg milk per lactation, can you think how much reserves does that cow have to put in that calf? So you come to the auction, or in 2 years' time you buy that cow's bull calf. Because it's bigger and it's heavier and it grows better. You must look at the mother. So this cow is about 10 times more valuable than that. Okay. Where's my cow? Look at the height. Look at the height. I estimate this cow is about 450 kg. Now what think you? Dave? 5 cow.
Ja.
This one? Right. Just look at this. Look at the bone structure, look at the hip height of that cow, compare to this one. The appearance of a female is not a prediction of her fertility. It's just what is it? Only shows the history of a fertility. I can take a very fertile heifer and I can keep her from the bull. She will develop exactly the same characteristics as a very infertile cow. She can be very fertile. If I don't put her through the bull, she will look like ox. So there's four actions that make a cow look like an ox. It's a skip cow, a queen, she skip, or a calf died very early, or she has low milk, or she's on a very high energy diet. So I will typically, if someone asks me to evaluate these cows, I don't ask them anything. I just ask him, what is your system? Do you keep skip cows? If he say he doesn't keep skip cows, so you can't lie to me. If the cows run past me, and I see the cow that shows that signs, I tell him that cow's calf are dead. He says, how will you get it? I say, but because you look like a skip cow. It's very easy. But if all the cows look the same, you must know you've got a very high energy. So if you buy a bull, you visit someone's farm and you see all the cows, you say he doesn't keep skip cows, but all the cows look like that fat in the brisket, that thick neck, long hair on the brisket, long hair on the teeth. You must know you have a very high feeding regime, very high energy. So not necessarily skip cows. But if all the cows look feminine, here comes one that looks like a queen. You must know if he calls every skip cow, you must know the calf are dead or she has low milk. A low milk cow can calf every year, she will look like a skip cow. Because she doesn't put the milk into the calf. Is there any questions? We might know what people cat box. You can ask any question now. You can ask Christopher, you can ask Jacob.
Is dit verkeerd as 'n koei breedte tussen haar oë?
Ja, dat is alles in de. Jy sê gaan smal wees. Jy kry koeie wat baie lekker mooi breed is tussen die oor. Maar sy gaan nie die geweldige oorbank hê nie. Geweldig breed reg deur die kop hê. Sy gaan dat die woord is langer. Langer dinge. Nie dun. Verstaan jy? Breed. Die woord is nie in die middel nader aan die lerwe nie. Verstaan jy? Jy kan nie sê nee, sy gaan smal wees. Sy gaan smaller.
Watch.
Die breedte en die wese bek is ook seker baie.
As jy die wese voorkant gesien het, sy kop en sy nek en sy borstel, dan weet jy presies wat aan. Oké, hier is 'n sekere voorbeeld. Dis is twee volsisters. This is two full siblings. The one a calf every year, the one is king. It's a great name. Which one will you buy an option? So, just compare them on the head, on the arm, on the mask, in the neck, on the masking, on the shoulders. Do you see any difference?
Ek kan pak.
So hierdie dan op die linkerkant, né? Dis seker nie daar nie. Sy het dragte.
Als we met draad zijn, is de eerste draad en de tweede draad. praat oor die ander kant steek.
So you just,
They probably will both be pregnancy. We do the pregnancies now, we look at them because we're taking things out in September, middle September. That'll be delayed, but look at the history. The problem with the history is that cow can't in here, this one's skip. The example is, and this we see often at auctions. And on the farm, I mean, if you win these two cars, and then you've got to select one, you're going to laugh at, I know which one will be selected on the farm.
so this is something that the commercial farmers and upcoming farmers must be very aware of. You will be caught out. If you don't demand looking at the reproduction performance of the mother, you will be caught out. You will buy this cow for a premium. You will buy it for a premium because you got a deer calf. She looks more meaty. She broad. She shows muscle here. You will buy it. And I wonder ask the stud breeder, why are they so profitable to sell these cows to other breeders? He told me, honestly told me, he said it's a win-win situation. He said because if he sold that cow, that calf every year, there's a possibility she's going to the new owner, she's going to skip there because sometimes they just run out of feed. He said, but this cow, he's selling to that guy. The guy thinks he get a so smart, nice cow with a nice calf and she never skips again because he already skipped. So everybody's happy. So you must be.
Ja, ek nou nie al kyk die eerste koei, hulle sê jy moet nou hulle in konteks sien. Hierdie koei is 13 jaar. Daai koei is 11 jaar. So daai koei toe sy jonk was het sy ook keer geskiep, sy's oor 400 dae. Hy het nie hierdie koei was oor 'n paar jaar reg gewees. Die kommersiële setup wat teruggebring en sy is nou weer in Kaap en ons maar ek dink daai pikkie nou gedoen met van die 1200 liter melk wat een bees spaar en ons kry dit weer en weer. En dit gaan nie net oor gekalf nie. As die koei gekalf het en haar ICP wys reg, maar die kalf is dood, sy kalf loer aan die pad, dan is dit presies hierdie prentjie wys nie. Het 'n goeie ICP.
Maar die bruggeval is ook daai kop het dit nou.
It's very important to also say, if you look at the intercalving period on the cattle, you must look at the numbers weaned as well. A cow can calf every year, and she can have a dead calf, and then she will have a very good intercalf, because after the calf dies, she will quickly reconceive. She will have a very low intercalf. You must look that the calving dates and the number of calf weans add up. You're counting the dates calf, and you see it come to 8 calves, then you calf, then at the right side you look at calf wean. That must add up to 8 calves. There must not be a calf short. It's very important. Very interesting. Look at the size of the vulvas. If they walk out now, look at the size of the vulvas. We will comment. Just as important as the scrotum and the epidermis is at the bull, with the cow or heifer is the vulva development and the teeth development. So just make a note if they walk out about this two calves, about this two cows.
Then, I think with young animals, those two, I mean, they correlate.
Yeah.
The vulva development and the teeth development. And the feminine, it's a picture of femininity.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very important. We will show you, we'll do some heifers outside. We will show you what to look for in heifers regarding the vulva development and the teeth development. Look at the size of the vulvas. Look at the size of the vulvas. I will mention that you can't compare it. That you can't compare Boran with something. Yeah, never. It's the same with the sheep. The sheep is more skin, so it won't have a lot more skin. Yeah. Something that's very important before we get something that's very important about the vulva. The vulva is development in the infant is extremely important. But you can't compare between breeds. So for example, a Boran and a Brahman that got a lot of blue skin, Indigus type, will have bigger vulvas as a rule. Because they've got a lot more skin. That's what they got. Why they got a bigger sheep as well. So for example, Nguni will never have as large a vulva as a Boran. You must compare within a breed. Same for Mashona will, up in Drakensberg, might breed. They don't have as large as vulvas. You can't compare between breeds. It must be in the breed. So for a young bull, the first thing I look at is the neck. And then if the first thing I look at is the vulva and the teeth development and the shiny coat.
We had a question like earlier about temperament. That is one of the big issues of temperament. They get so tight you can't move them.
This is an example. This is an example of exact opposite. This is the mother with a blue calf. Male and female. Exactly the opposite. Look at that. We talked about the Boran. Look at the Boran. You remember the previous week? Is it bigger or smaller? But the reason why this cow is here, that's another prime example of the cow that people might discriminate against on auctions because they will say she's not carrying not enough meat, and especially a top line. You will find a lot in nature. You will find a lot that cows stop breeding cows. And this is very important. A top breeding cow that calf from early in her life every year will seldom have a perfect top line. The top calf, the calf every year, the cow, the calf every year from early in her life will very seldom have it. Even I don't know if it's even possible. Just how it's big. Just like I told you, if a cow skips, it starts looking like an ox. If a cow calves early in her life and she calves every year after that, let's begin at the shoulder. It's a scientific fact. Jan Borsma will tell you if you read his books. Because of the what is Cambien in Engels? Help me.
Cambien.
The rugstrap, Cambien. If the cow starts getting pregnant or starts cycling, it stops going. So that's why you will get with this cow, or any or most extremely fertile cows, you will get, if she walks, a shoulder blades. The shoulder blades will pass, if she walks, it would look like she has loose shoulders. The shoulder blades will pass the spine. So you will make a big genetic mistake. If you look at that cow on auction and you say, no, I don't like a top line. Look at the bull calf she bred. It's very important, especially if you're young and not experienced. People will take chances. That is a very efficient cow that will make you a lot of money. That will keep you on the farm. You look at that pizza, you look at that other, you look at that bull, you look at the history of reproduction, you look at the shapes it looks, the femininity she has. Look at the bull calf she bred.
Maybe I can't be but ongesê as ek nie verkeerd as jy sê forum ons as jy dit kan afneem die respond die ouder moet van die program.
The cow looks is not a prediction of a fertility. It's a representation of a history of fertility. If I take extremely fertile beef and I take her away from the bull, she will start loose like an ox. But the cow that are extremely fertile will show the signs of fertility. So she has showing the signs of extremely fertile past. And that you can confirm on the records. But the regency here, exactly as you said, forms for a function. She doesn't look like the typical cow you had in your head, and people are buying on auctions for big money. But she's a productive cow. Look at it through the calf. There's nothing wrong with this one. That's why she's here.
And who old is it?
The 2019. Logic quick.
She's 2011, so she's 12 years with an ICP of 372 days.
So if you ask me, and I come on auction, I wouldn't have even to have to look at the reproduction records. I would just look at them, and I would know she's a very fertile cow.
So what will say that my this would be it would be
Visual. Yeah.
New way work welcomes from this
Yeah.
as a calf
let's summarize. You must compare apples with apples. If you take and you see 8 calves every year, you must first look, you see, win every calf. And then you must look at it and see if she looks like that, you know what's really that's. But if she doesn't look like she looks like a queen, you must search for the fault. There must be something wrong. Either she has a dead calf, or she comes from a farm that has a very high energy leak or production leak or something. You cannot buy genetics from someone that has a better feeding regime than you. You must buy genetics from someone that has the same system or poorer than you. And the rule of thumb, how you compare it, you look at weaning weights and 12-month weights. So typically when I do a bull seller, I will ask him for his weaning weight, the weaning weights. In my area, in breed, the 12-month weights is exactly the same as the weaning weight. That is just how it is, anyway. So if I wean 210 at my calf is 210 and weaning, he will be 210 at 12 months as well. So I compare it to the guy that I want to buy the bull from, and I see his weaning weight is 205, but his 12-month weight is 208, 280. I know he's got better feed. You understand? That is the rule of thumb. Okay.
Yeah, if I can just add one thing. I think, prime example, there's a perception sometimes that a very feminine cow, not the cows going to breed the bulls, they are exactly the cows that are going to breed it. If you look at that cow, and a dewlap and the femininity in the head, and the total picture that you get, she should breed bulls like that. And you must get cows with that correlation. You tend to buy cows at auctions, like the previous red cow, 107, and pay premiums struggle. I think this is a prime example. And the other thing is, like Pikkie's telling us all morning, the bull will look totally different than what the cow looks like. Totally different. But that bull should be able to breed these kind of cows. And that's what one should keep in mind, that it's always an opposite. Very clear opposite.
So you must actually desire to want to breed cows like that. That's why you look first you look at the mother and then at the bull. But you can't buy this bull if you haven't seen the mother. You must consider the mother first. And if the mother is like, this is one Christopher made a remark this morning. This is probably one. I can say he said this is one of the best bulls that you can see in Africa.
I think it's one of the better bulls in Africa. In the Boran system. This is a typical Boran bull.
It all goes back to the dad.
It all goes back to the dad. If you showed me that cow this morning, I would have tell you, there's no way that cow is not going to breed good bulls. And the nice thing about this cow, she's not that light. She's quite heavy, that cow. She's very small frame, very early mature, but I think she weighs, I can say, 500 kgs. So I pull back my remark about 450.
And I think that weight thing, one must just always take into consideration, is she close to calving in or is she weaning a calf?
Yeah,
that
weaning.
makes a huge difference. That's the weight of weaning when she's close to calf.
Yeah.
So at weaning, the weight obviously is quite different.
So just have a look at you see that masculinity here? There's a difference between, you mustn't confuse it with the straight. Some are straight of this. It's straight on. That's on top of the shoulder. There's in front between the shoulders and the head to get the masculinity. That's the dance that you must look for in the bull. And the cow exactly opposite. You don't want that one. You can have the one on the shoulders, but you don't want to have that one between the shoulders and the head. But the bull can't be good. The bigger the better. Look at the hip height of this bull. at the skeleton. Do you see the freedom? You also have the small balls on this underneath. Exceptional. Look at this cow ball. Exceptional. This is very important. That's probably the most important what I'm going to tell you from the whole day. Do I have your attention? You must listen very carefully. Some people are scared of inbreeding, like breeding. So they make jokes and remarks. They say we call it line breeding, it works. We call it inbreeding, it doesn't work. I can tell you that on all honesty, I can't farm without rain, I can't farm without line breeding. I will stop farming. You tell me I can't do line breeding, I'll stop tomorrow. There's nothing, you can take two crosses, you can select for milk or growth by crossing two animals. And your prediction will deteriorate every year after that. If I wouldn't be as mad to select for milk, but you say for example, I select for milk, and I take two bloodlines, and I breed them into each other, and they have good milk. My predictability to have good milk are far, far greater than far. So this is a prime example. This is the mother of both littles, different father. Sy is bietjie gelykdeel.
Sy in die kalk terug.
This is a cow that line ready. Look at its predictability. Look at two bull calves, both are all brothers, same mother. This is the mother, different father. Even if a different father is good, predictability of the exception. Look at the frame size of that cow. This is a cow calf. You understand the concept of line breeding? It's far more predictable to breed. If I buy that cow, I've got a very, very good chance to breed something special out of it. Where in crossbreeding, it's like tossing a coin.
But it's just one question. Jy sê sterk op kleinteling, né? Sal jy dit van bulle en van die koeie se kant af doen? And I think that is important, guys. If you do line breeding, a lot of guys take the bulls, 2459, 2459, 786, 786. You must plan your line breeding from the female side, from the cow side.
You can never test the bull. That's it. You are selecting for fertility, and you can't test the bull. You can test the semen, but the bull will never come. So the cow is more important. Right, Mrs. Black? Look at the size of this cow. Single cost far less, you will eat far less to reconceive than a large animal. The one calf is in 2019 and the one is in 2003.
Well, 18 and 21. The red one is 21.
18 and 21. The two bulls.
It's just to show that, yeah, but it's
No. Okay, this is another example. So if you go to the auction where you buy that before you saw what you saw today. She's 15 years old. 15 years old. That's extremely long over here. This is your old. This is your son.
Okay, I just want to come back to the line breeding here. From the dam side, we have the same genetics 3 times in this bull. Coming back to the same genetics again and again.
Proper 72, we stop in over the 12.5% in the series, still not that. And I believe the predictability is so weird van so weird beter geweet vir altyd.
Dan die al antwoorde wat ek het aan ons boere nie te rekenaar om doen met regte beeste.
Wat gaan oor oor tyd of hulle sê
Dan hulle word
julle is verkeerd.
dit waarskynlik iets wees met hulle model, maar ek kan nie so vir doen nie.
Nee, ek moet nie. Ik zie er nog bij mijn vijf, maar ik ken niet veel als dat is. Maar ik wil gelijk zeggen. Maar het is interessant, ik wil dat ik het was. En derde vraag is, ik heb weer in Zuid-Afrika. Met boven te draaien om weer zeker.
So again is he's asking about the between a cow and a bull. So this is exactly the same. On the confirmed male female, exactly the opposite. If you sit against your husband, your hips are wider than his, and his shoulders must be wider than yours. That's exactly the same. So with the cow you want wide hips, and the bull you don't want. If you see a bull's hip bones, red flag. He must be wider here on the outside. What is I driving? Folds. He must be wider at the fold. You see the fold there? Halfway down. That's at the hips. You see that? Exactly the opposite. Male and female, exactly the opposite. Male and female, exactly the opposite. Super. This is a very good example of what you're looking for. You understand that? You mustn't confuse the jumping muscle with the bones. If he's walking and you show that muscle on top here, it's not a bone. It's muscle. But if you see bone there, and it's wider there than on the floor, it's definitely a question mark about his fertility. And the same with the cow. The cow must be wider at the hips than the floor. Another interesting thing, but the bull that you must definitely pay attention to, the bull must have a clean skirt. You see that skirt? You will see some bulls that have long hair. Go and have a look. You will see the long hair. That's a sign of hormonally unbalance. Some young bulls show it at a young age, and when it goes away, you mustn't be too critical. But as soon as you show the masculinity in the neck and the head, his coat must be clean. If he's a mature bull, and you've got long hair on his testes, and you've got long hair in front of the testes, they will his teeth sit, with them off. Very important thing for me, someone I'm sure Christopher in François and miskien Johan, and miskien van julle some of you will disagree with me. I have no doubt in my mind that the teeth of the bull are extremely important regarding the size of his female that's a complete size of his teeth. If a bull has large teeth, and I've seen it many times, of different size teeth, you don't want anything larger than a pencil point. You can go testing on this. If you have a look at the bull's teeth and you've got large teeth, you will breed females with large teeth. You don't want anything a big mice farm for teeth. Depending on the age, this is an old cow, look at the size of the teeth. Still the same as my farm. This is a very, I don't hear anyone disagree with me Go and have a look before buying a bull. Go and have a look at the size of the teeth. It must not be larger than my pinkies. You can check me on this and you can phone me back if I'm wrong.
But you can walk with the Clausen?
Exactly with the placing, what is placing? Placement. So if the placement of the bull's teeth are 2 on the stomach and 2 are sitting on the scrotum, like this, yeah, like this, 2 are on the stomach and 2 are sitting low on the scrotum, you'll get the same thing with the placement of the teeth and the outside.
Dat kun je goed opbekijken. Je hebt vaak je hebt 4 spelen. En je gaat ook met los spelen. Als je steeds de spelen gaat, dan je raam op en je spelen je raam. En dat wat je hier hebt gedaan.
You can check me and I like it, it's like om verkeerd bewys te word. But there's definitely, I've seen it a lot of times, that the placement of the cow's teeth, you can trace back to the placement of the bull's teeth and the size of the bull's teeth. You don't, again, male and female. Why would the bull have large teeth? Not any one of us here, men have large teeth. It must be small, as small as possible. If it's larger than this, you'll get large teeth with the cow. That gives you a lot of problems. I've done another thing about male and female. I've done a lot of pelvis measurements on heifers for 5 years. I stopped it because I saw there's no relevance between the bull's measurement of his pelvis and the heifers because it's not a bull's trait. The bull is not supposed to give birth, so why would a bull have large pelvis measurement? Regarding the functionality of this bull, it is extremely good bull. It comes back to his mother. Exactly the opposite. You will not get better examples of male and female. Wat is die idee was die? Wat is daai woord wat hy altyd gebruik?
Sexual dimorphism.
Ja, sê wat? Sê wat?
Sexual dimorphism.
That's die grondwoord vir male and female, opposite. Right? Kom uit.
Pikkie, ek wil net sê 2 goedjies oor die wil sê. Dit is ons nou sterk lyn as maar hierdie pakkie wat hier staan. En dis wat stoetboere en boere vandag in mooi moet hoor. Daai koei kom van ons af na Jakob toe as 'n embryo. Daai. Hierdie bal kom van Jakob af, by toe as 'n jong speenbaby. Jy kan nie als vir jouself hou nie. Jy moet bereid wees om te deel. As dit goed gaan met die ras, gaan dit goed met jou as boer. So, you need to promote the breed. You mustn't overemphasize your brand. Emphasize the breed and the good traits, and then it will go well with you as a stud breeder. So, dankie Jakob.
So wat wil ek sê is dat dit is baie belangrik om mense te ondersteun, want wat ek ook gesien het is dat meeste stoetteelers wie aan stoetbulle, maar die koeie is net vroulik, so dit is nie SP of stoetbeere nie, dit is net kommersiële koeie.
Op die plaas as jy koop.
Ja, op meeste hou van die produksie veilings.
Van jene rasse.
As ek dit nou vergelyk met ander rasse, hulle bied dan baie stoetbulle, maar die vroulike diere, die koeie is net vroulike diere.
Ek dink die grootste verskil in ons ras, een van die redes, en ek, ons sal nou as ek daarso afsluit, so net so ietsie sê oor mitokondriale DNA. Daar sekere eienskappe wat jy net van 'n koe af kry. DNA, jy kan dit net van 'n koe af kry. Dis nie 'n 50-50 nie, dis nog nooit 'n 50-50 gewees nie. Maar ons geluk in die Boran bedryf, ons kon net embryos inbring van Kenia. So the emphasis was on the females right from the beginning, and the female line, because that was the only way. We couldn't import semen and put down cows. And I say that's the best thing that happened to our breed and the way we imported it to South Africa. The fact that we had to put all the emphasis on the females. And Pikkie, I think he reiterated time and again today. That's the most important part. And that was the best thing that could have happened to us.
Just want to ask, is there anything of significance with regards to the pigmentation of the stone? Like the dark
Now, obviously, the pigmentation, I think, is good on the roots, on the eyes, on the vulva, on the scrotum, on the cheeks. Obviously, it's there. But I won't discriminate against. Look at a cow, you don't have pigmentation on the teeth. I would not wouldn't consider it.
That's a Shona crossbreed Angus, if you're interested. Have you ever heard of the Shona breed?
But obviously, pigmentation is important. But this bull is such a magnificent in other places that I will obviously do for that. Well,
I don't know if you can answer me or Francois or Christopher. Look, at an auction, it said that two inspectors, main inspectors will inspect animals either custom or failure. But what I read recently was that if an animal is failed at an auction, it can either be sold as a commercial and it loses its SP status immediately, and that SP status will never be reinstated. Or the breeder takes the animal home and that animal can still retain its SP status at the farm. In terms of consistency and the breed standard, how is that? How does that work?
I can answer that. It's an easy explanation. Remember, we've got, out of 288 breeders, we've got about, say, 30 breeders who are involved, apart from national sales, 30 breeders involved on auction, at auctions. So now that guy's cattle have been approved for years, and now he presents the cow or the bull at 5 or 6 years. And something has changed or developed, fault developed from 2 years old to 6 years old. No one, the guy was not participating in an auction. His cattle never comes up for a second inspection. So that's the only reason why it's just fair. If we want to do that, then we must re-inspect all the cattle of all the breeders every year. And that's simply not practical. And that's the reason for that arrangement. So because a guy's not an auction, his cattle won't be subjected to the second inspection like a screening. And that's why we implement the rule like that. Just from a practical point of view. And I think it still remains a decent arrangement.
Let's look at this cow stop one as well. Do you see the person with the previous one? That's how they take off every year. Unfortunately, that's how they do it. You must learn to like that. But if we quit, a quit must also. Ja, maar dis 'n koei. Dis 'n funksionele ding. As hy nou voorkaal was of as hy nou jong as 'n jong koei was, sou daar vleis gesit het. Maar jy soek nie spiere daai, dis 'n koei. 'n Koei moet nooit gespier word. 'n Koei kan vleis dra. Sy kan vol vleis of 'n vroulike ding. Maar sy moet nooit gespier wees. As 'n koei bespier is toe in hierdie nek en die skouers op die rug, het vleis. Ons het in die ou tyd daai gelyk dat dit ons net probleem. 'n Koei is 'n koei kyk in 'n boom. Sy met daai al rug heel te hierdie op kyk hierso. Maar net vrou, kom maar die koei se rugspiering, jy gaan net nie na hele straat. Maar sy gaan 10 jaar kom.
Maar hy sê hy after daai moet goed week, jy koei kan so klein bietjie wegval daar. Dis daai oorstuur jy van praat, jy sê oorstuur met koei.
Dis aanvaarbaar.
Ja, van daai 100
Dis 'n projek.
wat jy sê, dis ook om daai tipe koei vir die balans.
Sy het hierdie bil opgesit.
As jy 'n bushkoei kry, kan jy waarde gaan eet.
Want ek het 'n kursus gedoen laas jaar. Dit was interviews en die oom, hy's 'n santa boer. En ek kom hier sê as jy nog uitstap aan 'n kraal, die slegste koei wat jy sien, is die beste. Want gaan kyk hoe sy goed op hy kaal en gaan kyk die kaap. Dis die beste. Daai koei wat ons kop lê. Dis die koei wat jy moet eers aandink.
Maar later kom jy, later leer jy. Dan leer jy, dis hoe het koei lyk. So, ons sien dit nie, ons sien nie as tot. Ja.
Dis basies wat ons bedenk het.
Ja.
Daai koei wat almal van was nog uitkom.
Ja.
Dis die beste koei van sy ons kaap.
Ja.
En sê gee alle beste vir die kaap. En dis wat
Ja, as jy nie goed oor die voet krijg, die sien, dan kan ook nie vir jou jong. Jy kan by ou kom en hy sit dan op die veiling en sê, maar die moet jy elke keer kaap, of jy die raad op dat. Verstaan jy? Jy kan het sien, hulle lyk allemaal die vis en koeie, producten van weer, die oorlog is uit.
As het reg is met jou, dan moet ons miskien net vanaf. Ek dink wat ons gaan reël, let's make this arrangement. We've got more cattle in the kraals. It's not practical to bring them all in. There are some cows with 2 full brothers next to them. There are some Shona crosses and bull calves to show my statement that I made earlier. I don't think